wait. Say hi, everybody. Say, I don't want to be held, but I'm Duke. And I wanted to say hello and welcome to everybody. This is my mommy's floss tube channel, Stitching With My Kitties. And this is floss tube number 16. And I'm mad at mommy because this is the second time she picked me up to show me off because she had to restart her video. So he's the only one up here right now. I don't know. Dallas was up here earlier, and I had to go back downstairs. I had forgotten to bring my cell phone up, and he followed me downstairs, and I don't think he came back up with me. And Daisy May, I don't know where she is. Dallas is still not eating his canned food. I feed them one of those really tiny cans. I split it 3 ways every night at 6 o'clock. That's their dinner time. And for the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, Dallas just doesn't want the canned food. He loves his crunchies. When he hears me fill up the crunchy bowl, because we feed the crunchies, so I just keep the bowl filled. Well, when he hears me putting the food in the bowl, he comes running because he has to have his fresh crunchies. And Daisy May, still little Miss Porky Piglet, she gobbles her soft food down, then goes to the bowl that I put down for Dallas, eats that, and then if Duke, who is a very, very slow eater, if Duke is still eating, she'll push him out of the way and finish his bowl too. So I figure if Duke won't push back on her, then, he just won't eat his 1/3 of that tiny can. It's probably like 1.5 ounces that they get each. Well, that they're supposed to get each. We know that Miss Porky Piglet gobbles almost the whole thing. I apologize that my voice is a little hoarse today. The pollen count is very high here in Northern Virginia. So I do think I may sound a little hoarse. I feel fine. Damon was sick when we got back from vacation, but he is feeling better. But he is even suffering because of the high pollen count. And he typically does not. Sorry, Duke is playing with something on the floor and it keeps distracting me. Damon typically does not suffer with allergies, but he is this time. Our trip was a once-in-a-lifetime trip. It was absolutely fabulous. We flew into Quito, Ecuador, and toured Quito for 2 days. And I wish I had known much more about Quito than, because we concentrated so much on learning about the Galapagos Islands and Machu Picchu. We didn't think about the towns that we would be flying into or anything like that. So Quito is a beautiful town. It's about, I want to say 9,000 feet above sea level, but it is surrounded by mountains, by the Andes. And it is a beautiful town. Its history goes back 5,000 years. The Incans did conquer the city and made that one of their major places to live. I don't know a better way to say that. But that has really all been erased just with modernization and influx of people living there. And it's just unbelievable, beautiful, beautiful. And it has an old town square that we actually toured with 2 cathedrals. And I cannot tell you, I cannot begin to describe the beauty of those cathedrals. One of them was, it's an exaggeration, but it was almost 100% 24 karat gold leaf. Everything was gold leaf, and it was amazing. Part of it burned, and they had to restore it, and I don't remember when that was. I wish I could figure out how to insert photos in my videos so that I could show you what I'm talking about. But I did post a lot of photos on my Instagram, which is Patty Penn and the number 4, PATTYPENN 4. And I think I even put maybe some little videos. I don't remember. We've been home a week, and this week has just been, I was just exhausted when we got home. I mean, it was 15 days literally of non-stop going. We snorkeled in the Galapagos. We hiked in the Galapagos. We walked all over several towns in Peru. Made it to the top of Machu Picchu. So it really, if you ever have the chance to do either or both, don't hesitate. So after Quito, we flew to Baltra, Galapagos. Only 3 of the islands are inhabited. So we flew into Baltra, and as soon as we got off the plane and started into the terminal, we already were seeing little tiny lizards or geckos and iguanas, and it just got better and better every day. Then we got on the ship, and the night before we flew to Baltra, we had to turn in all of our luggage because the Ecuadorian government searched our luggage to ensure that we were not taking anything that could become invasive in the Galapagos Islands, because they do have plant species on one of the islands. I think it was Santa Cruz, at the Charles Darwin research area. They had to take out a bunch of the trees because an invasive species was taken over. So they leveled that, and then we got to plant 2 new saplings each for the regrowth of that forest. And while we were there planting, I don't remember the name of the bird, but it was a beautiful bright red bird that's very rare. Came up and gave us a little show while we were planting our seedlings, or saplings, I guess that might be called. So like I said, we snorkeled. We saw penguins. The sea turtles swam with us. There were white-tip reef sharks. One of them swam directly under me. I thought I was going to die. And I've seen sharks when we've been diving before. But this one was really big, because the ones that I've seen diving were at a distance. This one was right there. And all 3 of our snorkeling adventures were filled with sea turtles, white-tip reef sharks. I didn't see any black-tip reef sharks. I think they might have some on in the Galapagos waters, but I'm not positive. We saw marine iguanas and land iguanas. And the marine iguana, the first one we saw, he was sitting up on a little hill. And you can get within 6 feet of the wildlife. You cannot get any closer. And he was sitting there, and then he sneezed out the salt out of his nostrils because he had been in the ocean. And that's how they rid their bodies. It's just to sneeze the salt out. Then the naturalist had said that occasionally the marine iguanas do breed with the land iguanas, and the offspring, the scientists call weirdos. The scientists, yes, they call the offspring of land iguanas and marine iguanas weirdos. Now, weirdos are like mules. They cannot breed. But there is some concern that the population on some of the islands of the marine and land iguanas is dwindling, possibly because of the interbreeding. I can't remember. I think I said we saw penguins. had never seen penguins in the wild before because this was my first trip to South America. And of course, penguins like cold water, cold places to live. So I'm not sure how the penguins adapted to the Galapagos Islands, which are on the equator. We saw 3 different species of rays. A manta ray, the last snorkeling that we did, there was one on the bottom and it appeared to be resting, and it was huge. The sea lions swam with us. The sea lions, like I said, 3 of the islands are inhabited, and the towns are literally right there, on the coast. Sea lions go into town, they lay down, they snooze, and they just ignore the people. It's really amazing. The blue-footed boobies were hilarious. We also saw, I was trying to think of the name earlier. I'll think of it and tell you. And we did see lots of giant tortoises. We were on our way to lunch at a ranch and went down this very narrow 1-lane dirt road, and there was a tortoise just sitting there or laying there, or he was in the middle of the road, and we just had to wait until he decided to move out of the way so that the bus could drive around him. Then, after the Galapagos, from Baltar, we flew back to Cusco, Ecuador, then down to Lima, toured Lima for a couple of days. Now, Lima is the capital of Peru and is a port city, but the town itself is 500 feet above sea level. And that I really had trouble wrapping my mind around that. From Lima, we flew to Cusco, and then we were driven to Urubamba, where we toured several areas. Was in the Sacred Valley. And the Sacred Valley has the Sacred River. And the Incan believed that what we now call the Milky Way at night, that it was reflected in the river. So that's why the river was called the Sacred River. Then we went to Machu Picchu. Again, words cannot explain the majesty of the whole thing. Again, completely surrounded by mountains. Machu Picchu is about 8,000 feet above sea level. From Machu Picchu, we went back to Cusco, which is 12,000 feet. Damon and I were very, very fortunate. We did not have any altitude sickness. So some people on the trip did, though. In Cusco, we saw alpacas, and I got to hug on them and rub them. And then the next day, I ate one. Well, not a whole alpaca, but I pretended that it didn't have that cute little face. And it was very good, very tender, no wild flavor. We also saw llamas or llamas, and they had some in Machu Picchu, llamas just walking around. So it really, really was a fabulous trip. Now, on to cross stitch. First off, table 24 plus 2, we all got into StitchCon Weekend B for next year. So we are all so excited. We may go, or some of us may go a couple of days early. There's 3 quilt shops in that area too. So that's something that we're talking about. Harry, I hope you're healing. And I hope he's doing everything the doctor and you have told him and are telling him to do. Harry had surgery on his shoulder and is undergoing PT. And the last time I heard from him, he was feeling good. But you have, men, you have to stay on top of them to take care of themselves. And again, Anne, I hope he's been a good patient. Karen, I hope that your school year's still going well. Karen is teaching kindergarten this year, and I can't fathom doing that. And I will link Jeanne and Ashley's new floss tube. It's called We Stitch and We Know Things. So I'm going to link them in the description box below. And then I'll link Christy's YouTube and her website or Etsy shop. And Christy, I'm still loving the We the People Sal. Now, if you haven't watched Niecielynn's latest floss tube from this past Friday, you really need to tune in to it. She has all of her Halloween decorations out, and it is fabulous. It's just beautiful, just beautiful. And she showed her progress on the Nutcracker Sal that she's doing. Pam Schaffner from Just Keep Stitching is hosting it on Instagram. And Niecie's is just coming along beautifully. And Niecielynn, it was so good to talk to you Friday. I really missed getting to talk to you while we were gone. And I really hope that things start improving with the kids this year at school. Now, I mentioned the We the People Sal, so I would like to show you my progress. I have the first row of the 1/1 words completed. And I don't know how well this is going to show up, and I can't see, of course. But I am just loving this. So I'll work on a couple of the words, and then I do a few more lines of solid 2/2, because this is on 32 count, is Fabric Flair Americana Star Confetti. And I think all of us are stitching it on this fabric, or most of us. Now, Niecielynn is using the Call for DMCs, and she tea-dyed hers, or coffee-dyed it, I don't remember. Now, I know Christy, who is the designer of the pattern, Salty Stitcher Designs. She's doing some specialty stitches with hers now. So this is 32 count. I chose 32 because I wanted to do the 1/1. So if you would like to join us, we would love to have you join. We'd love to have you join our stitch along on Instagram. It's Table 24 We the People Sal. So I do have another whip. Believe it or not, I do have two things going at the same time. We started We the People on Labor Day. So I needed something to work on before that Monday, Labor Day, because we had already left. So I'm working on the word swap by Stitching with the Housewives. And it's pumpkins. And excuse the thread that I left in there. But this is coming along nicely. Now, this is 36 count. Dyed Effect, I don't remember. Dyed Effect something, also by Fabric Flair. Because, you know, they're my favorite fabric company. And I'm sure they missed me while I was gone because I didn't put in any order. So I did just put in an order. I think it was Thursday, maybe Friday, because I wanted some of the whitewash board. And then they had another pattern that was a deer on a specialty background. So I'll make sure to show you that when I get my package. And I'm not in any hurry because I'm not going to be working on that anytime soon. Now, I do have an FFO. Yes, thanks to Niecielynn, of course. She sent me the pattern. This is by Hands On Designs. It's Give Thanks. She dyed the fabric for me. And this was 28 count Witchell linen. Yes, I'm not a linen stitcher, but I stitched it, didn't have any issues, and I think it's beautiful. And niecielynn sent me the frame because this is what she framed hers in. So when I texted her, I fully finished this yesterday. And when I sent her the text picture, she's like, "Oh yay! Now we have matchy whatever you call it, cross stitch." Jeez. I tell you, I was exhausted. I was supposed to go back to work on Tuesday. I had to take Tuesday off. I really could have taken this whole week off, this whole past week off, to recover. Now, Judy, I'm going to try to get your fabric and the chart, and there are some flosses left. I'm going to try to get those in the mail to you on Tuesday. So, Judy, y'all know my sweet friend Judy, who rescued me at the beginning of COVID with the dried tying, overdyes that I couldn't find anywhere. So, anyway, Judy, I'm sure you will also remember, sent me 2 doilies. And it took me a while to find the alphabet that I wanted to stitch. I wanted to stitch a P, and I wanted I wanted it to be fairly plain because the doilies are just beautiful. Well, I finally found the chart, and I was working on something else. So, I think it was Give Thanks that I was working on. When I finished that, I was gonna stitch the my initial on the 2 doilies. Well, I didn't even realize it till I got ready to stitch. The stitches would have been on the diagonal. You can't stitch cross stitch that I know of on the diagonal. So instead, I used my machine embroidery. Here, let me get my board back. Whoops. I wanted to keep the clips. I didn't keep the clips through them, so I'm going to put these on top of each other, and then I'll flip them up so you can see, because these are just... So I got out one of my embroidery monogram patterns for my machine embroidery, and I did a pink pea, and then that's lavender. That's not showing up real well, but that is a beautiful lavender. It's a dark lavender. It's showing up more gray-black there. So Judy, thank you so much. The pink one is going to be gorgeous for my spring decor. I did finish all of my, got all my Americana, 4th of July, Memorial Day, whatever you want to call it, red, white, and blue. Got all that put away, and all of my fall put out before we left for the Galapagos. So that was fun, and I am going to do a little tour, a little house tour of all my fall decorations, but I will load that up to my Instagram. I don't know that I'll put it on my floss tube. We'll see. So, Judy, one more time, thank you so much. I think the doilies came out beautiful. I do have a little bit of haul, not a lot, mainly because we were gone, but I did get my, oh, sorry, I didn't take this out of the plastic, my Bestitch Me, when their monthly neutrals club, and I get the 40 count Verdal. This is called Boot Camp. It's got some very subtle modeling, and I think that's very pretty. And that's showing up a little lighter than it really is. It's not real dark, though. So, Brandy does such a beautiful job. I think I want to try some of her silk flosses, too. One of the things that I've been seeing on Instagram is... it was an online cross-stitch magazine back, I don't know, maybe late 90s into the mid 2000s. They are offering for, I don't know, $25, $30. You can download all of those issues. It's about 5 or 6 years worth. And I'll link it in the description box below. But it's called thegiftofstitching.com is the name of the magazine. And if you can just go to Instagram and type in tgosm for the Gift of Stitching magazine. It'll pull up, and you can, if you wish to purchase it, you get an instant download. So I loaded them all onto a flash drive, and then I was going through them the other day, and I saw this one. It's called Tropical Quaker Sampler. Of course, you know I'm crazy about Quaker samplers. So I printed this one out. Of course, I don't know when I'm going to kit it up and start it. It's, you know me. I love collecting charts. Kind of like the Sable Stitchers, which I think is stash accumulation beyond life expectancy. It's Roberta and Lenny, and they're just adorable. I love watching them. And I was watching Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda and Laura, this morning. I haven't finished that floss tube yet, but they were showing some beautiful samplers. Brenda had several of the originals and then had stitched some of them and had the patterns for the others. So make sure you go and check them out. I'll link all of the floss tubes that I mentioned today. I'll link them below. And then, you know, I've been in the Fabulous House series by Cottage Garden Samplings. And this is Fairy House. So I like this one too. I didn't like all of them that I've gotten so far. There's 12 in the series, and that's number 10. But it is, I like this one. So I'm sure I won't stitch them all together. Just stitch the ones that I really, really like and maybe have an interchangeable frame or some kind of finish that I can just swap them out easily. Also get the PNPS magazine, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitch magazine. Now, I don't get the hard copy. I do get the internet copy. So I printed out several of the fall ones from the latest issue. This one is Fall Sampler, and it's by, Nerd from Twin Peak Primitives. Of course I loved it. I love everything that they do. So this may be their first or their debut chart in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitch. Then I printed out Grateful Heart by Manny Didonna. I think that's beautiful. And I printed out Jack and Ollie from Happy Cat Stitchery. Now, I'm not going to stitch the jack-o'-lantern. I will just fill in and without giving him or her a face. But of course, I have to stitch the kitty. So I thought that was cute. And then Happy Fall, y'all, from Sugar Maple Designs. And then I'm a patron on Tiny Modernist, a Patreon. And so this one is Fall Bell Jar. And of course, I love hedgehogs. We had them in Germany. They're so cute. And then last month, Twin Peak Primitives Patreon was Mouse of the House. And then this was a free download that I downloaded from Everything Cross Stitch, and I think it is so cute. Fall, Sweet Fall. So if you go to Everything Cross Stitch, you should be able to download this if you're interested. This is by the Calico Confectionery is who designed that. I also printed out a couple of things. And oh, this is one more from the fall issue of PNPS magazine. And then I got, again, from the Gift of Stitching, I printed out 5 or 6 Christmas ornaments. I need to make several Christmas ornaments for swaps. And the only one that I printed that I can show you that didn't have the chart on the same page was Season's Tweetings. But again, that's from the online magazine that I found through Instagram. And then Scarlett, our granddaughter, is, I don't want to say she's sloppy, but she's sloppy. And so her grandmother asked me if I could make her some smocks. And I finally found this cute pattern. So I'm going to try to make her a couple to see if those work. And lastly, I did get in my Sayings of the Season by Stitching with the Housewives through Fat Quarter Shop. And this one is just called Autumn. And here's the cute little bag that it came in. You get the project bag. You get the Witchelt Black Monica, not Witchelt, Charles Craft, DMC. Black Monaco, and that's 28 count. You get some finishing fabric. And you get the floss and a needle. No, just the floss, which is Classic Colorworks. So I may work on this later in the year. I'm not sure. I'm kind of running out of time. And then I got my Stitch Quarterly, and I always love the Stitch Quarterlies. There's only been one that I was not pleased with. And this is maybe their 4th year, going into the 4th year. So that's saying something that you could get 14, 15, 16 mystery quarterly projects and only just like one of them. This one's called Pumpkin Pals from It's So Emma. And again, there's a little hedgehog. See the little hedgehog here? And this is the bag that it came in. You get a bag, a needle minder, the chart, the floss, and this quarter we got not only DMC but 2 weeks dye works, overdyes, and then here is the Zweigart Platinum. Again, 14 count. I don't know if I'll stitch it on 14 count or no, we'll see. So that's all my haul. I think that's all I need to tell you about today. Thank you for sticking with me through the first half, me telling you all about our wonderful adventure, but it really was a once-in-a-lifetime. Duke is asleep, but I'm sure if he was awake, he would say thank you for joining us. I hope to see you in 2 weeks, which I think will be the 12th of September. 12th? No. The 6th of October. The 6th of October, I think. So, again, thank you for joining me. Please think about liking the video and subscribing. And I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.